coming in, make sure you click that like button. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. Oh, we're going to talk about lots of things today. Marcus, darling, I'm not wearing any panties. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. Lots of things. I'm feeling my Juanita Bynum-ish tease today. Juanita Bynum-ish tease today. Giving you some Juanita Bynum-ish tease today. Why am I wearing this red robe? Red robe, honey. Thank you. Oh, you telepathically. Come on, purple one. Because I was supposed to message you before this started and tell you to come on, but baby, you telepathically came. Like the purple one that you are, period. Like the purple one that you are. Yes, you did. You telepathically knew. Because, baby, I'm going to need you here on watch because I'm about to say some things. We're about to get into some things today. I can read any bitch. This you know, and that's for sure. My reading red robe. I can read any bitch. This you know, and that's for sure. I'm wearing my reading red robe, a reading red robe. I can read any bitch. This you know, on that for sure. A reading red robe, a reading red robe. Ow. So let's get into what I want to talk about today, Multimama. And this is why I did not go. So this year I did not go to the United States Conference on AIDS and HIV. I did not go to the conference last year on AIDS and HIV. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm very grateful that I'm in a space and I have the opportunity, to be able to talk about these things candidly and not to be worried about what people are going to say or what people's opinions are. I'm thankful for a little bit of the alienation, a little bit of the blackballing of sorts, because it has given me, a man, a woman, the freedom to be able to speak, on things as I feel they need to be spoken on. A man, a woman. Hold on one second. And we're back. So we were gone for a minute. Now we're back with the jump off. So let me just go ahead and break this down. Let me just go ahead and break this down for y'all. So there's a lot that I want to talk about in this video. There's a lot that I want to kind of like unpack. And it's really just, when you come into this HIV movement, when you come into this HIV work as someone, I'm coming up on my 21st anniversary of living with HIV. And recently I was given an award, and I'm not going to name the organization because I don't want to make it look like I'm putting the organizations down. Make sure when y'all come in, y'all click that like button, because we are trying to break through the algorithm. We're speaking to that wall, and we're going to push through the algorithm. We're talking to that wall, and we're telling it to break down. So when you come in today, I'm going to need you to click that thumbs up button and help me push through that wall. We're going to vibrate until we break the wall, okay, baby? We're going to vibrate until we break the wall, baby. Yes, we are. Amen, a woman. So anyway, I was recently honored and given an award, and it was the Rising Star Award. And y'all know how long I've been talking about HIV. Y'all know how long I've been talking about my status. Y'all know how long I have been invested and shamelessly sharing my story, sharing my narrative to empower people. And it's because my message is not watered down. My message is it challenges institutions, it challenges organizations, it challenges us to play the whole tape. And so because my message is not PC enough, my message is not watered down enough, my message is not something that keeps us on a certain frequency or a certain vibration, then they try to gatekeep me out of it because they don't really want us to elevate collectively, through being challenged, through having these experiences that cause us to think deeper about our lives and about our existence as people who are navigating HIV and AIDS, are being impacted by HIV and AIDS. So anyway, I did an abstract for the United States Conference on AIDS. And what I wanted to bring there was a art space, like kind of like we have at Creating Change. I wanted to create an art space because I feel like art is very important. It helps us to be able to deal with past traumas that we've had. It helps us to be able to unpack anything that we may be going through. It's very important. Like art is such a powerful tool in helping us to heal, from the things that we endure, in this reality. And so I'm always going to be, a lot of people say that they're there for art, and a lot of people say they believe in the art, but some people just saying that because they know you could get a grant or you could get a check. But like literally before I was ever getting a coin, before I knew I could get a coin for my art, before I knew I could get a coin for my music, that's what I did. That's what I'm passionate about. This is what I believe in. This is what I stand by wholeheartedly. Art therapy and healing through art. So I wanted to bring that space to the United States Conference on AIDS. And I've done this before. Let's be clear. At my job that I worked at Nairi for 10 months, I legit, because I have receipts. This my scrapbook. This where because it's important to have a physical scrapbook. But let me pull out a receipt. This is the flyer from when I worked at my job. It's called No Harm, Nairi On-Site Healing Arts Recreational Meeting. Become a part of a safe, structured environment to explore creative expression. It was Fridays from 3 to 4. So there's no question that I'm able to do it. There's no question that I don't know how to do it because I've been doing it. I was doing it before I was hired at Nairi. I've done it in South Africa. I've created artistic spaces for children to come together and paint and work through things. Like, I've been doing it. So, it wasn't a proposal for me to get paid. It wasn't even about me getting paid. It was legit me donating my time, donating my skill, donating my talent to support, the World AIDS Conference. I mean, to the United States Conference on AIDS. What is a slap in the face to me, and what is disrespectful to me, and what I feel like is disrespectful to every artist who has been living with HIV, not to mention living with HIV for almost 21 years, is that when y'all go and y'all get Big Frida or y'all get T.S. Madison, people who are not even talking about HIV as it relates to living with it. I've never heard T.S. Madison talk about HIV as it resorts to living with it, but she is the keynote speaker at Nations, which is a trans organization which work is centered around HIV. Then you got Big Frida in New Orleans at the conference, and y'all paying these people thousands of dollars simply because they have a platform, simply because they're known, but their message does not align with the work. Their message does not align. And then this is the crazy part. Like when I'm trying to get opportunities, y'all want my work to align, but if you're a big name artist, the only thing you got to do is have a platform so that you could share it and get likes and views, and so people could know what's going on. People are going to come to these conferences regardless. People are going to come to you to the United States Conference on AIDS regardless. Why not expose them to artists who are actually invested in seeing the end of HIV? And expose them to artists who are actually working on themselves. Just like now, I'm in this space of where I take my medicine, and I'm also doing holistic care. I'm also taking herbs, that help with my holistic care. So I'm able to have conversations not only about the impact of the medication, but also partnering that medication with holistic herbs. I'm also able to share art and share stories that speak specifically to someone living with HIV and AIDS. Literally, in my book that I wrote, I talk about living with what I call the nothingness, which is HIV and AIDS. Y'all call me a rising star, but it's not a rising star, ma'am, sir, people. I've already been out here. I've already been doing this. But you pretend like I'm not there, but this is the crazy part. I go to Pride, when I go to these public events, these trans people who be over organizations and who be CEOs of organizations. Oh, I know you. I've watched your videos running up to me drunk and hugging on me. But then when it comes time for you to create an opportunity for me to come share my art, and for me to come and help to elevate people, and for me to come and for me to uplift people and encourage people and inspire people, what do? You go and get Big Frida, and you go and get T.S. Madison. Y'all talking about y'all want to see people that are living with HIV. You want to create opportunities, but what you want to do is you want to gatekeep, and you want to decide how much you're willing to sow into someone whose art may eventually make your art obsolete. Because at the end of the day, it's all art. So you want to control the narrative, and you want to gatekeep what you give me and what you pour into me, because a lot of times we have it in us to heal ourselves. Not to say that you don't need to take the medicine. Not to say that you don't need to diet and you don't need to be responsible with your body. But we have it in us to holistically heal ourselves with help from the medication, with help from herbs, and meditation and exercise and dance and art. And to find that balance, we could live long, healthy lives, not just long lives. Because, yeah, you could, because thanks to the medication, you can live a longer life, a man, a woman. But many times you live that longer life with dialysis. Many times you live that longer life with other problems going on in your body, because the medicine is affecting other parts of your body. And so that's why it's important to have a conversation about holistic care. But you bring somebody to the you bring people to the conferences so they can make you throw it in. And that's the gag. I got music where you could throw it in a circle. Like legit. I wrote a song specifically about New Orleans. You had the conference in New Orleans. You have an artist who's living with HIV who's from New Orleans as well and has literally wrote music about New Orleans where you could throw your ass in a circle and not if you insisting upon having Big Frida there, then have Big Frida there. But why not have an opening show where you have local artists to come out and share their message? Why just spend thousands and thousands of dollars to have someone on your platform, to have someone who's only going to talk about this subject when you're paying them? And then y'all wonder why people are becoming so entitled. Y'all wondering why y'all can't find people who are authentically invested in the work because y'all are grooming people to be that way by only sewing into people who are willing to talk about what's going on in the HIV community when you put a check in their hand. Hope Giselle is another one. I don't have nothing against Hope Giselle, but we know the only reason why Hope is talking about HIV is because somebody paying her. And because because they're not living with it, at least if they are, they don't tell us. And so you have people that are not living with HIV, being ambassadors and talking about HIV. And so of course, they can't talk about HIV from their own personal perspective. The only thing that they could do is regurgitate research. And I'm sorry, the consciously research over me search ain't always better. Because the type of me search I'm talking about is me living with this. Me searched it. Me living with it. Me navigating it. Me enduring it. Research ain't always over me search. Me living through it. Me search matters. Me experiencing it. Me navigating it. Me search. Me searched it. Me. My experience. No, ain't no research over me search all the time because research can be manipulated. Statistics can be manipulated. Consciously get on my nerves, low key. Yeah, and I mean, they got him around here like, he's an intelligent, attractive young brother. I'm going to give him that. But, they got a lot of, we always talking about ops outside the community, but why would you even take opportunities when like, you can't legit, like, speak to this with experience. Like, you're not navigating spaces you're not in it. Yeah, you see it. Yeah, you got friends. Yeah, you're impacted by it, but you're not in it. And y'all platform people who are not in it. Don't stop pretending like they're not artists who are open about their status, who are living with HIV. And this is why I'm not breaking my neck running up in those spaces no more. Then the person just have to be black and queer. If the person is black and queer, black, queer, and got a platform, y'all gonna pay them. Black, queer, got a platform, they done got the amen from the machine, y'all gonna pay them. And it's crazy. It's so hard to find authentic corporations and organizations with integrity today. Like trying to find organizations and institutions that have integrity and actually stand on it, stand on business. Girl, that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Consciously as an interloper, sellout grifter. Oh my goodness. How you black and married to a Latina? How you pro black and married to a Latina? Well, child, you let them tell it, girl. The Latinas is black too. And I mean, I'm not saying that this is my thing. We have to acknowledge the cultural differences because like Latina people, Asiatic people, like I was watching, I've been watching, I watched the latest episode of the Girls Club. And I'm gonna let y'all know right now, make sure y'all click that thumbs up button when y'all come on here. I watched the latest episode of the Girls Club, and I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all want me to continue to review that season, somebody gonna have to hit my cash app. Cause when I tried to do a video talking about it yesterday, people was not clicking like y'all in the comment section. Somebody want therapy. I like trans women. I don't know how to deal with it. Then you got somebody else in the comment section trying to affirm his manhood, and y'all having a conversation in the comment section about transness and validating transness, and y'all can't even click the thumbs up on the video. Y'all not supporting me, but y'all using my platform to have a conversation like y'all trying to hook up or something. I'm like, girl, child, fuck the girls. But so if I'm gonna take the time to sit down and give you my wisdom and my knowledge and my ideas about the girls club, somebody gonna have to hit my cash app. Period. Bitch, hit my cash app. You want to hear me talk about the girls club? You want to hear me give you an honest perspective? You want me to sit up? I gave y'all two for free. Now somebody need to hit my cash app because I'm paying to get they releasing the shows so far apart that you end up paying $4.99. Then I had to pay $4.99 again yesterday. So I've invested $10. So somebody need to hit my cash app because at this point I'm losing money talking about the girls club. Period. So anyway, the Asian girl, the Asian girl on there, the Filipino girl, right? That's right. The cash app right there. Thank you. The Asian girl that was on there, the Asian girl that was on there, she requested security. And the black girls, they about that life. They there for the fighting. They there for the smoke. So they don't need security. They there. They ready for the smoke. But the girl that was causing all of the shenanigans, she was basically mad because the Asian girl requested security and got it, and they found enough value in her to give her security. She asked for security. But let's be clear. No tea, no shade. The Asian girl did look a little bit more fragile. And a lot of times we mistake superiority with fragility. Because a girl needs more things to be comfortable, because a girl needs more things to sustain herself, because they need more things to feel safe, we look at that as grand. Oh, girl, she got this, she got that, she need this, she need that, she has security. But ma'am, she's a little bit more fragile. Girl, if you pop her lightly, she's going to bruise like an old piece of fruit. Girl, if you pop her ever so slightly, girl, she's going to bruise like an old piece of fruit, girl. So while you're looking at her and you're seeing grandness, girl, what another girl is looking and seeing is fragility. Girl, it's fragile. No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade. Another girl is looking and saying, oh, girl, you ain't for tough, is you? And so black people, a lot of times we have to stop mistaking fragility for grandness. We have to stop mistaking because they need this and they need that, and because they have to get that in order to feel safe or in order to maneuver, in order to sustain themselves. We're looking at that as privilege and we're looking at that as grand. But ma'am, change your thoughts, change your life, girl. Play the whole tape, girl. Some people need a little help. Some people need additional support. And that doesn't always mean that they're being treated better than you. That just means that we're acknowledging. But we live in a world that causes us to believe that because people need additional support or because people need additional help, that somehow they're superior. No, girl, the fact that you don't need all of that speaks to your wherewithal, your capacity, and your capableness, girl. So don't always just look at another race and see them as being privileged over you. Sometimes we have to call that what it is, girl. You need a little. I get it. I understand. Cause the little Asian girl do look a little. She do look like a strong wind could come through, girl, and shatter some things, girl. So she do it do give that tease. So no, I'm not fixing to continue on with that narrative of white people is being treated like this because they're this and they're that, and Latino light skinned Latino people and light skinned Asian people are being treated like this because the society looks at no society no what we understand within is that sometimes you need a little extra help. Sometimes you need a little bit more support. But anyway, back to the topic, back to the subject. Like I said, girl, I was talking to one of my girlfriends the other day, and she was telling me about how T.S. Madison was the keynote speaker to speak at Nations. And I saw the little flyer where she gonna be speaking at Nations, and I was like, girl, this is a trans-led organization in the HIV community. And the girls that you pick, the people that you pick to come support you, the artists that you pick, it really speaks to what your brand is and how you are. And then they try to get up in, they try to spill them lies and spin them narratives, talking about we want to see the end of HIV in our lifetime. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You want to see the end of HIV, and you want to create opportunities for people in the HIV community who are living below the poverty line and working for minimum wage. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's an industry. It's a machine, and your prime goal is capitalizing off of people living with HIV and AIDS. You want them to stay you want them to stay on a certain frequency. You don't want them to be capable or conscious to be able to do anything for themselves. You want them to be dependent on all your services. You want them to be dependent on all your information. You want them to be dependent upon all of your statistics. You are not trying to raise up people who are living with HIV who are not always constantly viewing themselves as the victim and totally dependent on a westernized healthcare system. That's what you want. You want people who are dependent on big pharma and a westernized medical center, westernized medicine. That's why you don't expose them to people like me and you call me a damn rising star. That's why. Ooh, we get the girls' information, period. I missed yesterday. Hit that like button. That's right. Hit that like button. And weak as wet tissue. You're speaking the truth, amen and woman. They they sure don't fund. Funding has beep cut nationwide, been cut nationwide. Numerous associates of mine are unemployed, and HIV related outreach is non-existent. And 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 it didn't have to be like this. Like, if they would have created more opportunities for people who are living with HIV, like to really lift us up, people who have, like people who aren't afraid to go against the grain, like they're the reason why people living with HIV aren't morphing into more sustainable careers and more sustainable opportunities. There are literally gatekeepers in this work who are sitting on the top, who are milking all the services, who are getting all the resources, and they're not giving any tools to people on the bottom or people trying to come up. They're not giving any tools to them to be able to carve out a new path and to be able to help this work evolve. Like we have not seen the people in HIV care who are able to cross the divide and say, hey, okay, this is what holistic HIV care looks like. Never been to a conference, never been to a workshop, never been to a conference where we were at a workshop where they were modeling what it looks like to be HIV positive and to be, using holistic care as a means of supporting yourself and taking care of yourself as a person living with HIV. They're not going to model that for you. Everything is going to be safe. Everything is going to be controlled by big organizations, big institutions. And once funding get cut, because you've been so engulfed in that line of thinking, because you've been so engulfed in that process, your skills, the things that you've learned, once that becomes dated, you're obsolete. And that's why you're unemployed. Because you was a one-trick pony. You believed in the institutions and you never ventured beyond that. You didn't learn how to adapt. You didn't learn how to shapeshift. Therefore, you got left behind. All you knew was what they told you. That's the only information you knew. Is what the data said, what the statistics said, what the CDC put out. That's all you knew. And the CDC is going to give you a very linear scope of things, a very narrow scope of things. All of these conferences, a very linear scope. It's amazing to me how many workshops and how many workshops and how many spaces they have at these gigantic conferences where thousands of people gather, and the message is still all in the same vein. It's all the same thing. There's no spaces in which you're truly challenging what's being set before us. Baby, y'all need to click that thumbs up button, because I don't know if it's some ops on here. If you're looking at the video and you feel away, you trying to go run back and tell your organization. You trying to go run back and tell your organization that I'm talking about y'all and you just on here being oppish. But I got 14 people watching and 5 thumbs up. What's the tea, fat? What's the tea? What's your intentions? What are you here for? You feeling away? You upset? You're mad? Because I'm telling the truth, it's got you feeling away. You feelings. You in your feelings? You in your feelings because I'm not going to be quiet and hold my head down and try to get my coin? Is that what it is? You're mad? Because guess what? Doors is still going to open for me regardless. Opportunities may not come from me as frequent as people who are willing to sell out, people who are willing to constantly compromise. Opportunities may not come from me as fast as they come for you. But guess what? My legacy is intact. My legacy is intact. When I get ready to go be with my ancestors, I guarantee you they ain't gonna be saying every time it was a coin involved, you saw Kaneen. Every time it was an opportunity to get a bag or to get a coin, I was there, because that's all I was there for. Because that's what a lot of you, that's all you're there for. Yeah, you see, it's a lot of ops on here today. Oh yes, it's ops on here today, baby. We got the ops, honey. They not putting no thumbs up on that, baby. They mad. They mad. How dare you? How dare you speak a truth that doesn't align? How dare you? I know that's right. You'll be all right, though. You'll be all right. The ones who do care and move with integrity get overworked and underpaid, then finally pushed out for the young, naive dummies who say whatever to get a dollar. That's the youth, like the conscious lead and like Hope Giselle. That's the youth. They gonna say what you tell them. When I see Hope Giselle, like, this is the thing. First of all, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you give me a coin to talk about HIV, let's be clear. I'm gonna play the whole tape. I'm always gonna be respectful of my audience. This is my house. This is Laylim Layler. This is Laylim Layler Nation. I'm talking to purple ones on here. So I'm going to say what I want to say in my house. But my grandmother, Eula Mae Brister, Eula Mae Clark, raised me. When you go into other people's house, you play nice. I know how to play nice in the sandbox, and I know how to respect other people's spaces. I'm not going to go into your own house and wear you out. So I know how to play nice at a conference. And I also am enough of an intellect to use the proper words where I could be honest and talk over enough people's head. And if it's meant for you to get it, you'll get it. Because I'm always going to be authentic. I'm always going to play the whole tape. I'm always going to do that. But I'll do it respectfully. And a lot of people think that because on my platform, I go through it all. I'm a human. I am a spirit having a human experience. So when I talk on here, you're going to get all of it. Because this is not AI. This is not a robot. This is not a clone. I'm not getting paid to say anything on here. I say what I am moved to say, and whatever is laid on my heart and whatever is laid on my spirit, and if it's pressing, that's what I'm going to talk about. And this is my platform to exercise my constitutional right, freedom of speech. Now, if that offends you and that bothers you, then take that up with Massam. Take that up with Massam. But this is my platform for me to have the space to talk about the things that I want to talk about, the things that mean something to me. And it also helps me to work through whatever it is that I'm dealing with or whatever it is that I'm experiencing, so that when I am asked to speak somewhere else, when I am asked to talk somewhere else, and when I am asked to represent somewhere else, I've had the opportunity to unpack some disheartening truths so that I don't have to go up on y'all platform and y'all stage and take up a lot of space like a lot of these soundbite advocates do. Y'all be done paid them to be there. Then they get up on the stage and they get worked up, and because they haven't worked through anything. They can't sit down in front of a group of people and have a calm intellectual conversation. Because, girl, you haven't had a space to really unpack, girl. You haven't had a space to work through this, girl. A space to process this, girl. That's why I have this channel, so that I could authentically, transparently, openly, and clearly work through things that bother me with people who are like-minded, with people who are on a path and a journey and trying to understand this life and wrestling with some things. In the Bible, it says that what his name was, I think it was Jacob. It says that Jacob had wrestled with the angel of the Lord and wrestled with the Lord until the Lord blessed him. They wrestled all night. It was a messenger of the Lord. In some texts, it say it was actually God, but in some, it says it was an angel of the Lord. It was a messenger of the Lord. But Jacob wrestled with that messenger all night long until that angel blessed him. But it cost him something to receive that blessing. And that's very much my energy. I could relate to a lot of Bible stories. Honey, I'm going to wrestle. I don't care who it is. It could be one of the highest archangels in here. I'm going to wrestle with the machine. I'm going to wrestle with Goliath. I'm going to wrestle with institutions. I'm going to wrestle with organizations. I'm going to wrestle with being black. I'm going to wrestle with constructs. I'm going to wrestle with the patriarchy. I'm going to wrestle with sexism. I'm going to wrestle with racism. I'm going to wrestle with it until you, and I'm not going to let go until you bless me. I don't care how you feel about it. I don't care what you think of me. If you're doing this work, if you're on this road, you're supposed to wrestle with that thing. And wrestling with that thing doesn't always look politically correct. But at least I have the dignity, the grace, the tact, and the respect to do it in my own safe space that I created here in 2009. I've had this platform since 2009. And y'all know me. A lot of y'all know me. That's why y'all don't send for me. That's why y'all don't ask for me to come, because you don't want people to come back to my platform. You know how when people go to events, they say, let me talk about what's going on my, they say, tell us about your platform. Tell us where we can find you. Y'all don't want people to do that. You're okay with people going on Hope Giselle's page and finding Hope Giselle's content, because the most problematic the most problematic thing Hope Giselle is gonna say is about racism, and race baiting is absolutely fine in this society. That's not revolutionary. She gonna talk about trans people being murdered or killed. That's more division. The same thing with the conscious league. A lot of it is just race baiting. A lot of it is just gender baiting. A lot of it is just pitting us against each other. My work is legit holding us accountable, all of us, so that we can come together and we could create our own nation. Because this is how they're holding us back. This is how they're keeping us out. They continue to create these alliances between these people aspiring to be members of the elite bourgeois, and then you have representation from all groups. You have your BIPOC people of color ops. You have all of these people and continuing to oppress you. But on this platform, we're talking about policies that protect people who are doing sex work. We're talking about the 13 things that I talked about the other day. And you know what? I want to talk about them again today. Because I added some more. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that again before I get in here. So, and then once we do this, I'm going to go ahead and get off. Make sure y'all click that like button as y'all coming into the space and support the lives. Those of you who are not, ops, and you're not just here to be nosy, like those of you who really support, this channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you click that like button when you come in. Hope has done a complete 180. She got her extreme makeover and a seat at the table and said, now it's Beyonce all day. And she sure did. Because, baby, we remember, hey, Mada, I love you, Mada. Yeah, because we remember when Hope first came into the movie, baby. Hope had very much a Jesus in the temple spirit and was knocking over tables and chairs. But baby, once you right, baby, now she on a different type of time. But when Hope first came into the movement, she was a real threat. She was a real threat. But now she giving me Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson teas. Like if Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton was trans, she living, child, not hope, living her best post-op life. And she ain't talked about post-op. She did that one surgery. She did that one review on being post-op, and we ain't heard nothing else about that. It was supposed to be in a journal of the series. I guess she gonna talk about that later on down the line. Girl, I hope she ain't pulling a Sydney Star on us, cause you know Sydney Star said she was post-op too. You know, I really hope didn't go and get castrated and tell us she was post-op. Girl, cause you know a lot of girls be lying saying they got cooches and ain't got none, girl. So you know, not that I care, but girl, you don't have to lie, Craig. You don't have to lie, cause bitch, one thing I ain't never did, girl. If I ain't have it, I ain't have it. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't got it, I ain't got it. Bitch, I ain't got it. Bitch, when I ain't had no titties, I ain't had no titties. When I ain't had no hips, I didn't have no hips. So, you know, child, she did one video with her at the doctor, and that could have been castration. That could have been an orchiectomy. We ain't heard no more stories from her about having no vagina. You know, girls like to control the narrative. She want access to certain spaces, so she don't want her what's between her legs to be a conversation. You ain't got a lot of kick it, exactly. So I don't know. She said she was post-op, but girl, it's not a lot of narrative around it, you know. And I'm not saying that that's everybody business, that you gotta tell everybody what's going on with you, because you don't. It's just something. It's just weird to me. Like you, like I, because I was so excited for her when she said she got it, and I was waiting to hear more about it, waiting to hear more stories about it. And girl, we never heard nothing else. We never heard anything else, Faye. But we don't have people in that world that are talking about holistic care, like merging holistic care with westernized medicine. We don't, and spaces that don't feel the need to censor the Christian theology. Like we can exist. Like, this is how we actually influence politics. Like, this is how we actually create a viable third party, because we already have blue states and red states. Imagine if we had a purple state. Imagine if we had a purple state, honey. If we had the whole ones, a purple nation. Come on, purple people. Like, imagine that, like having that. And how we create those spaces is by actually having artists who are truly revolutionary and not just pretending to be revolutionary, because we give a lot of credit and say that people are revolutionary when they're not revolutionary. No, ma'am. If you're a revolutionary, if what you're doing is revolutionary, that means it's before its time. That means that there's not a model for it. Girl, there's models for everybody that I have discussed on this live. But you, like, literally, for me, you don't find people in or outside of the community who have the courage or the capacity to do the work, this work, because a lot of times you're not gonna get no money, you're not gonna get no recognition, but when you continue to do it, honey, that's revolutionary. That's real revolution, boo. That's real revolution. She used to be T.S. Bo Jackson, girl. I'm, and that's why I could but definitely believe she had an organ. That's why I could definitely believe she had an orchiectomy. Even if she ain't had like the sex change, I definitely believe she had something done down there. Um, the love and education that comes from your lips, outstanding. Thank you, Cookie. Um, say so. Yes, you teaching today. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now let me see if I could get my okay, I think we got 1%, so we could pull up the policies. We're gonna talk about them again today because I feel like it's important to keep revisiting this. Cause somebody said this the other day when I was doing a video, and it was so and it resonated with me. They said they want this to manifest, and how we gonna get this to manifest is by continuously talking about it. When I believe in something wholeheartedly and I'm invested in something wholeheartedly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to become redundant about it. I'm going to talk about it so much. Like I talk about Laylim Layler Nation, like I talk about the Purple Hearts, like I talk about burning the candles, like I talk about my spirituality. We're going to start becoming redundant with these policies. We're going to start talking about this over and over again so that you all purple ones, lay them lay their nation so that you all can help this to manifest so that we all can like begin to speak this into manifestation. And the hope and the belief is that we will help the next generation of poor and working class people to lift up, because as we could see, neither of the candidates in this election are considering the poor and the working class people. Kamala is talking about building up the middle class. Boo, I don't live in the middle class. Boo, I'm not a part of the middle class. And it's two different ways to look at the middle class, as Mada brought to my attention the other day. Because when you're visiting nations and countries outside of America, the middle class is often people who are not black or white, but it's people who are next in line for whiteness. So when you go to South Africa, the middle class are the Indian people. Ringing any bells? Ringing any bells? The middle class are the East Indian people when you go to South Africa. Help today, building up the middle class. Then they let the Haitians in, they let some Haitians in, and now we're seeing that you have some Haitian people, and Haitian, a lot of members of Haitian society are still connected to their aboriginous ways. They're not as indoctrinated by society as a lot of us have been, and so you get more of that aboriginous nature, which is why they're talking about the Haitians is taking ducks out the pond, snapping their heads and eating them, talking about they doing stuff with the dogs and the cats. And it's because they're letting Haitians over who are starving and lacking resources, because America owes them so much reparations, owes them so much. But there is a reason why they letting them Haitians come over here. We don't know what they using people for behind the scenes. We don't know what type of hybrid cyclones, cyborgs they getting ready for. We don't know what type of surgeries they trying to perfect behind the scenes. And we also understand that in order to create this narrative of these being up here and these being down here, you have to have a society of people who are more vulnerable, because they don't have the access that even someone like me have, who is living below the poverty line, but is a person who likes to learn, is a scholarly person. And I've been in America long enough to learn a lot about how things work and how things are set up. And so, though I may not have like the funding or the resources that someone may have in a middle class or upper middle class, or even beyond that, I still have a desire to learn and to understand how to navigate America and what's really going on out here in these streets. Okay. So anyway, okay, Fatima, I was just thinking of you, and I see you on here. Same as in Guyana, South Africa. See, exactly. This red priest look is so appropriate for right now. Look, this is what I said when I came over here. Y'all missed it. I'm gonna do it again. I wait, hold on. I can read anything. This you know, on that for sure. In my reading red robe, I can read any bitch. This you know, on that for sure. In my reading red robe, a reading red robe. I will read any bitch. This you know, on that for sure. In my reading red robe, a reading red robe. Period. Period. All y'all could get it, bitch. Entities, organizations, nations, you all could get it. Period. In my reading red robe. Yes, reading red robe. Yes, us the people in the states are considered to be the working class, while all others are considered low, middle class, or high class. The red, the red priest. Yes, okay, I read that. Yes, the reading red robe, honey. The reading red robe. This is the read. So when y'all see me put this robe on, you know I'm gonna get me a purple one. The purple one is next. Oh, I gotta have a purple robe. But this is the reading red, a reading red robe. When y'all see me do the little short wigs with the little reading red robe, and this is what I realized is that I am a drag queen. I'm a drag queen. You know what I'm saying? I like to. I'm a because when we think about it, that's one of the ways they tricked us up by getting us to want to assimilate so much into womanhood that we stop claiming drag queen as a term, like that we stop calling ourselves drag queen. That was the way that they tricked us up, and then the drag queen gatekeepers, like the ones who run organizations like nations and pick T.S. Madison to come represent their organization, or like how a lot of these organizations are run by drag queens who have taken the narrative of what drag looks like. And so when we think about drag, we only think about these polished black white woman looks. We only think about these polished European looks with all this straight hair and these straight wigs and these chiseled faces and this European couture and this European fashion. And so because a lot of us we are blending, and we are connecting more with our mothers and our fathers and our indigenous ancestors and our Nubian ancestors and our Aborigines ancestors, and we don't really want to be associated with drag queen because RuPaul has really kind of like become the archetype and the icon for what it means to be a drag queen. But drag just simply means fashion. It just simply means how you dress, how you show up. And I am a drag royal because baby, I'm coming to you, baby. Sometimes I might want to give you a little stud. Sometimes I might want to give you African tuna. Sometimes I might want to give you black white woman. Sometimes I might want to give you some old African tuna. Sometimes I might want to give you some old Indian with a spear tuna. I give you all types of things. So I'm a drag queen. I'm definitely a drag royal. And so I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna talk more about that. I wanted to touch on it in this video, but I'm taking back that title. I'm taking back that term because that's what they counted on. They counted on us not to want to be affiliated with that, so that these beings who think like men and maneuver like men, even though some of them got some work done, so that these men in wigs and these men who wear $5,000 breastplates and these men who got work done, these men who are loyal to manhood and loyal to the gay clubs and loyal to all of that, so that they could control the narrative, so that a bunch of gay men dressed up as women could control the narrative. And because we didn't want to be associated with that, with our pussy ass, with our fish ass, because we didn't want to be associated with it, they were able to co-opt the narrative. And that was a folly. That was where we fumbled. That was where we fumbled. And I'm taking accountability for that. My pride and my ego, bitch, I'm pussy, I'm a girl, bitch. I'm feminine, bitch, I'm broke down, bitch, I got a pussy, bitch, I'm soft, bitch, drag queen where? Bitch, they tricked me. Bitch, they tricked me out of my inheritance, bitch. They tricked me out of my blessing. Bitch, they tricked me, bitch. We got tricked out of our inheritance, bitch. Bitch, we got tricked, bitch. We were duped. Bitch, we were duped, queen. $5,000 breastplate. Exactly. I love that short wig. It complements your features so well. Thank you. Yeah, we was tricked. We were hoodwinked. They got us. Purple ones. Whole ones. They got us. They got us. They got us. What Nicki Minaj said, just shitted on them. They did. They shitted on us. Bitch, we didn't want to be associated with that. Bitch, drag queen weird. They got it. We should have did more to control that narrative. We should have done something to keep it from becoming gatekept by them. Because when you look at it, now when you think of drag queen, you instantly think of somebody that looks like RuPaul. Now, 100% pure love, you know I'm telling the truth. When you think of drag queen, you think of somebody with 200 pounds of makeup on, with a straight wig on, with some long lashes on. You think of somebody that's always got to be dolled up like a wealthy white woman. Every time. And it should not be that. That should not be the only thing that we think of when we think of someone who is royal when it comes to their drag and how they show up. Like, that word has totally, it's just become synonymous with those who overdo and make a mockery of womanhood. I came up watching Richard Bay and Rickard Lake. Yeah, and you remember I did too. Tricked into white Jesus, tricked into losing Aborigine status, tricked into Missy the Nation. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google that word, miscegenation. Tricked into being labeled black, aka avoid property of the American Plantation Corporation right. Because if we was owned in our indigenous title and our aboriginous title, then we be able to actually demand, like Rihanna said, pay me what you owe me. But we don't talk about blacks nowhere in the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution do we talk about black. Where's ain't no reparations for no black people because they weren't even talking about that in the Constitution. But I bet you they talk about them Indians. Bet you they talk about them indigenous people. I appreciate more diversity. Yes, yes. Tricked into integration, tricked into slave labels, which is why I love your videos on slave labels, on the slave label that is trans, because it definitely is. Is that I tell them, baby, when I'm up on the plantation, baby, that's my slave name, Bookie. So let's go over these rules because I don't want to hold y'all too long. It's been an hour, but we're gonna go over these new rules that we want to see implemented into society. Amen, amen. So the first one is, imagine a world where you only had to work 24 hours a week. This is considered full time, and you're paid the same thing that you're paid for working 40 hours for working 24 hours. This will give you more time for yourself, for your family, and to do and to work on projects that could help you to transition into doing what you actually love, if the job that you're doing is not your long-term goal or your passion. If you want to go to school, then it'll give you more time to go to school. 24-hour work weeks so that people could be more well-rounded, people can be more balanced, people can have more time for their families, and you still get paid the same thing that you would get paid for working 40 hours, for working 24 hours. So this would be 6 hour days, or you can find another way to work it out, but it would be at least 4 6 hour days. So that will give you 3 days, to spend with your family, and it will also cause you to be at work less time. And like I said, you would make the same thing that you would make for working 40 hours, so you wouldn't lose money. Whatever they're paying you for working 40 hours, that's the same thing they're gonna pay you for working them 24 hours. And you know what? I feel like part of that should be compensated by the government, because they're making way too much money hand over fist. We pay a lot of taxes. Like, find a way to make that money work for you. So that's the first one, working 24 hours a week instead of 40 hours a week. Um, Number two, all public transportation should be free. People should not have to pay for public transportation. A lot of times when you're riding public transportation, you're being subjected to messages that are mandated by the government, that are mandated, like when COVID was out, we had to hear all type of messages about COVID. We had to hear, we're receiving downloads from the government, so they're able to subliminally plant messages in your head. They're able to kind of like program you a little bit. And so if I'm gonna have to listen to that and be in a space where I'm subject to see people stretched out on the train sleeping, might be piss on the floor sometimes, might be food on the floor. Like, if I'm gonna be subjected to all of this, then guess what? It should be free. I shouldn't have to pay for that. I'm trying to get to work, I'm trying to get to a doctor's appointment. All public transportation should be free. We should not have to pay for public transportation. People should not be going to jail or getting harassed by the police officer to ride public transportation. The reason why you pay for Uber is because you want to be able to moderate your experience. You want to be able to control your experience. If you're in an Uber and you're paying for your Uber and the Uber driver is playing some music that you don't want to hear because you are paying for that ride, you could say to the Uber driver, "Hey, I don't like that. Can you cut that down?" Or, "Hey, the air conditioner is blah blah blah." I don't want. You can't do that on public transportation. You can't curate your experience on public transportation. Therefore, it should be free. Number three, those who are unhoused and living below the poverty line should have authentic representation in both local and federal government. And I'm going to include sex workers in that line. So, and let's be clear, not to say that, if you're an upscale sex worker, you don't deserve protections, because you do. But I'm thinking more of sex workers who have to walk the streets in order to make it for whatever reason. Number three, so those who are unhoused, those who are having to participate in survival sex work, those who are living below the poverty line, they should have authentic representation in both local and federal politics. They should have They should have representation in both local and federal politics. So that means that if you're a sex worker and you're doing survival sex work to survive on the streets, y'all need to create a union. Even if y'all ain't paying no taxes, y'all need to organize. We all need to organize. See, this is the thing that they'll trick you into. They'll say, oh, if you're not voting, then you don't have a voice, you don't have an opinion. When you go in the store, don't you have to pay taxes when you buy food out the store? When you order offline, don't you have to pay taxes when you order things from anywhere? You pay taxes, don't you? And then don't you aren't you following the law to the best of your abilities, trying not to be in and out of jail, trying to obey the law, trying to stay out of trouble? If you are doing the best you can to obey the law, rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's by obeying that law, and if you are paying taxes, then you have a voice. Never trick people into making you believe that you only have a voice if you participating in the voting process. That is a damn lie. If you are paying taxes and you're trying your best to follow these laws, if you get a ticket and you pay them tickets, them parking tickets and all of that, if you are doing your best to obey the law and you're paying taxes, it doesn't matter if you participated in the voting process or not. You need to have representation. And guess what? If the poor and working class, the people who live below the poverty line, people who were participating in survival sex work, if we had representation, then we would more likely participate in the voting process, because we would be able to see ourselves in that process, and we would know that our basic needs are being considered in that process. Amen, a woman. So that's number three, representation in local and federal government. Number four, nonviolent offenders who are under the age of 26 years old should not be allowed to do over 5 years in prison for criminal offenses. Again, nonviolent offenders who are under the age of 26 years old, because you have not got your critical thinking matter. So why would I give you 15, 20, and even 10 years in jail for a nonviolent offense? Make that make sense. You are basically creating slaves, because once you institutionalize somebody to that magnitude for that amount of time, they don't know how to do nothing but come home and be a workhorse. They don't know how to do nothing but come home and look for a massam. And just because you make a lot of money and you got a big old house and a big old car, don't mean that you ain't still no house nigga. Because we all know that some of that since the 1800s, the 1700s, we've always had a well dressed, highfalutin house nigga. That's the best way to sell it. Give them some gold chains, give them a nice car, more things to make them indebted to you. More things. The more things that they have, the more in debt they are. The more things they got to work off, the more notes they got to pay, the more bills they got. So just because you see somebody with a whole bunch of labels and a whole bunch of this and a whole bunch of that, that means that they are really, 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 really caught up in this system. They are really like, those are your biggest slaves. The ones with the most labels, the ones with the most wealth, ones with the most, because baby, guess what? They can't afford not to work. They can't afford to miss an opportunity. Cause them insurance, that insurance and all that shit got to get paid. A man, a woman. So so if you got children going to prison and they're doing and then they come out of prison and they feel like, oh, I'm down, I've been at the bottom of the barrel, I've been treated like a number, I don't have no value, I got this ex-con mentality in my mind. So now they getting out here on this plantation trying to prove, look at me, I pulled myself up, I was in prison, and now I have this and that, and that. It's to mess them up. It's to mess them up. It's being institutionalized messes people up and have them thinking that they were wrong and that they were a bad person. And so now they feel like they got to work real hard to prove something. And so they end up indebting themselves to the system. They end up indebting themselves and feeling obligated to serve an institution that didn't even care about them enough not to use them like property for 15, 20 years. Now you finna come home and work for them for some more? No, 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 ma'am, no, sir. If you 16, 17 years old and you got 15 years and 20 years in prison, you should come home and you should have a lawsuit. You should have back pay. You should be able to get money for all of those years that you gave of your life before you even got your critical thinking matter. How can you tell us that we don't get our critical thinking matter until we 26 years old and then try people and put them in jail and institutional? What type of system is this? And who are we as indigenous people, as aboriginous people, to stand by and support a system that would do that to our offspring? Come on now. Um, that was number 4. Number 5, individuals who are under the age of 18 should not be tried as an adult. Now I'm finna break this down for you. Why individuals under the age of 18 should not be tried as an adult? Because if you're going to arrest people for statutory rape of someone who is 16 years old or 17 years old, if I could go to jail for sleeping with someone who is 16 years old or 17 years old, then you should not be able to try someone who is 16 or 17 years old as an adult. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing. If I can go to jail for sleeping with someone who is 16 or 17 years old, you should not be able to try a 16 or 17-year-old as an adult. On no planet does that make any sense. This is racist. This is racist in its nature. Because let's ask this question. How many non-deeply melanated people do you think are getting tried as adults? How many people, how many people who look like this and not like this are getting tried as an adult? And the more they will unfortunately have to give back. You make a lot of sense. You have me thinking, oh, you have a point. Yeah, if you gonna let the statute, if you gonna throw people in jail for sleeping with somebody under the age of 18, then how can you try them as an adult? Make that make sense. It does not make sense. The law has to be fair all the way around. It has to be fair all the way around. You can't take an adult to jail for sleeping with a 16-year-old, but then send a 16-year-old to jail, no matter how upset people may be. Because this is what I feel like that is. I feel like if a black child kills somebody like a cop or like a white person, okay, we're gonna try you as an adult. And then y'all turn it around and y'all say, oh, okay, if a grown person was sleeping with a child and this is a wealthy person's child or this somebody's child who valuable, now even if it wasn't statutory rape, even if the child gave consent, y'all saying, oh no, this is a child. The parents is stepping in and saying blah 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 whoop de whoop de whoop. Don't make any sense. Number 6, free education and job training. Now, again, if you want to go and you trying to be an oppressor, you trying to, become a part of the conglomerate, you trying to become a part of these entities that are responsible for our oppression, you trying to be a part of the boule, you trying to get in skull and bones, pay for that. Pay for that. You pay for that. But if you trying to, you know, you trying to um create the type of businesses that are thoughtful of community and that are helping to build up community and are helping to create opportunities for people within community, and you're not trying to get into this position where you're acting like an overseer. Like, true, we have to have a system where you are respecting the people who are, in a position to call some shots. The person who's guiding the project, the person who's leading the project. Like, there needs to be a certain level of respect for that person, because if you're not willing to do that work, then you need to respect the person that's willing to do that work. But at the same time, like schooling, like if you're going to school and you're legit just trying to, become a person who is working towards building community, and you just trying to make sure you can feed your family, trying to make sure you can feed yourself, trying to make sure you can look out for you, like scholarly education should be free. Trade schools should be free. You shouldn't have to pay anything for that. But if you're trying to be, a part of the boule, you're trying to be a part of, like I said, the 1%. If that's what your goal is, then pay for that. Them the ones who should have to pay for college. But not all of us who out here so called, just trying to, trying to maintain, trying to have what we need. We not being greedy. We just out here trying to, be able to travel a couple of times a year, be able to pay all our bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, like those of us, like, we should not have to pay for education. We should not get out of school and be in debt, then be in debt trying to get a house. No, it's like your whole life you just going from debt to debt. No, not at all. I also feel like if you're willing to participate in the construct, ooh, I'm gonna add this one. Wait, I'm gonna add this one. I'm gonna add this one toward the end. Okay, so number 6 was free education and free job training. Number 7 is free uniforms for schools that require uniforms, and that one is pretty simple. Like, if the school is mandating uniforms, the school needs to cover the uniforms. Don't make me pay for something that y'all requiring. Don't create another bill for my children when this is something that you're requiring. You pay for that. Y'all cover that. Y'all find the money. Y'all find the resources. Y'all want the children to wear uniforms. Y'all pay for that. Don't create expenses when you the one made the request. This is something you want. This is something you want the students to wear. This is something you put on the families. Y'all need to cover that. Um, yeah. Number 8, comprehensive sex and drug education community sites. So many children are dying of different diseases, are being affected by different diseases, are ODing from drugs. And, the machine is constantly creating new drugs every day. I learned that while I was working at Nairi. Like, they're literally coming out ever since COVID. This thing got worse. Like, just different kinds of synthetic drugs that they just keep creating. So at this point, there needs to be a 101 teaching, and it doesn't need to be a program that is solely moderated by the system, because the system is not going to tell you the whole truth. It needs to be a space where, people who are participating in the process can be vulnerable and have anonymity, or have the freedom to be able to be vulnerable and share things that they're going through, and to be able to talk about their experiences without being persecuted, without having to navigate any stigma, without being stigmatized from sharing. Like, there needs to be educational spaces that teach us about, safe sex, um, um, the dangers, you know what I'm saying, of what could come out of it without necessarily condemning people and making people feel shameful for having sexual desires or sexual urges. And I think this is kind of what we run into in spaces that are guided by a Christian faith, because the Christian faith kind of feels the need to condemn. You can't just tell people say no to drugs or, celibacy, abstain. That's not what everyone's going to do. It's over 8 billion variables on the planet. You're not being realistic just telling people to abstain and just telling people to say no. No, there needs to be a realistic model of education and information that could be available for people who are curious about sex, and for people who are curious about drugs, and people whose families are don't have the capacity to do the work themselves. Amen, a woman. Um, Number 9, political representation in each neighborhood. Political representation in each neighborhood, not districts. This is how they continue to do that. What do they call that? Um, Mandarin, um, Mandarin, something where they change the lines, gerrymandering. I think it's gerrymandering, where they change the lines in the districts and they keep changing the lines. If you just send representation from every neighborhood, which would create a stronger neighborhood, which would create a stronger sense of community. If you would do that, then you would see more changes in every neighborhood. And so all of that redlining, how they redlining districts and gerrymandering and cutting people out of the vote and taking people off the voters list, it shouldn't be district, it should be neighborhood. It should be divided off into neighborhoods, and representation should come from every neighborhood, and you should have multiple types of representation from every neighborhood. So like, you shouldn't just have a man represent the neighborhood or have a woman represent the neighborhood. You should have a reflection of that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? The people who are the most active in that neighborhood, the people who are helping to keep that neighborhood safe, the people who are helping to keep that neighborhood clean, the people who are helping, like putting on events and doing things for community to get community involved and engaging with their neighbors. Like, it should be representation of all that, and it shouldn't just be some patriarchal or some matriarchal stuff. It should be representation of queerness. It should be representation of masculine, feminine, and non-binary, whatever. Like, all of that, it should be a reflection of what the neighborhood looks like. Amen, a woman. So representation from every neighborhood, not just every district. Number 10, this is one of my favorite ones. Grant incentives specifically for people who follow the law as best you can, because we're gonna have slip ups. We're gonna give you some grace. We're not gonna be, oh, you got a misdemeanor, or, oh, you was 21 years old and you got a felony conviction that was non-violent. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, like, you got a non-violent. You got caught with a bag of cocaine when you was 20 years old, or you got arrested for stealing out the store when you was about 19 years old because your family was hungry and y'all didn't have no food in y'all house. Like, no, that's not what we doing. We not punishing people for trying to survive. Like, we would actually have, like with that same representation in every neighborhood, we would have board meetings, and the person would be able to go before the board, and they would be able to petition the board, they would be able to petition the council, they would be able to petition the elders, and they would have representation, they would have character witnesses, and we would be able to discuss, hey, you know what, we're not gonna cut so and so out of the opportunity to get this grant money because, yeah, they made a mistake when they was young. Yeah, they era, they went off target, they had a season, they had a moment. we got some grace for you. We not just gonna say you can't get a grant because you wasn't perfect Patty in our eyes. Because you know a lot of time people could get that perfect Patty shit and behind the scenes they be cutthroat, they be conniving, they be snaky, and they be doing everything. They just know how to do stuff and not get caught. So we gonna have grace for the ones that get caught once or twice. But girl, if you habitual, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, Fed. But it's gonna be some nice grants, for people who are active in community, helping to keep the community clean, helping to keep the community safe, creating healthy, holistic events. You know what I'm saying? Putting out information to help us to be engaged, to be mindful, to be conscious. Just culture shapers, community shapers. We want to make sure that they're getting funding, and we want to make sure that that people are feeling supported in their work and their art and their creativity and their visions. Amen. Amen. So that will be number 10. Number wait, hold on. I had a good one. I had one that I wanted to add, and I should have wrote it down when I was talking about it. It's gonna come back to me. Okay, so number 11 is travel vouchers. Travel vouchers for people who want to visit their loved ones, who want to escape domestic violence, who possibly want to have an opportunity to leave the country and may not would have had the opportunity if it were not for these travel vouchers. So these travel vouchers would be given out, with a balance. You're not just going to be getting no travel voucher every month. You're not just going to be getting no travel voucher every week. You'll get a travel voucher depending on how far you're trying to go. Like if you're just, visiting another state over, then you might can get, 3 to 4 vouchers out of the year. If you're trying to leave the country, then you would probably get one voucher. You know what I'm saying? And that voucher will cover your trip there and your trip back. But you would have to forfeit your travel vouchers locally. If you're trying to go out of the country that year, then you would have to forfeit your local vouchers. So if you're going within the states, then yes, you would have to you if you want to leave out of the country, then you'd alternate. One year you would be able to go out of the country, and that would be your voucher to pay your trip there and back. And then during the year, you would have a travel voucher that you could use a couple of times a year, a few times a year, to go and visit family. If there was domestic violence, anything of that nature, like, you would have access to travel vouchers. Like the government would make sure that you have travel vouchers. And this would help people to be more well rounded, more cultured, have more exposure to the world, not have just such a narrow scope of things, really be able to speak to, like when you're talking about what's going on in the world, what's going on in the world and not just what's going on in your little corner. So you're not always speaking from a place of tunnel vision and speaking from this place where you're just talking about a siloed space. You're speaking because you've actually been somewhere. You've actually seen some things. You've left the country. You've traveled the country. Thanks to our government who actually gives a shit about us at this point. Amen, amen. Number 12, gas vouchers for those on a fixed income, working minimum wage, or living below the poverty line. So every so often you will receive a gas voucher that would help you, with the support that you need, if you're living below the poverty line, and you are making minimum wage, you would be able to receive a gas voucher. If you're on a fixed income, anything of that nature, you will receive a gas voucher, maybe twice a month. I'm thinking every 2 weeks you get a little help with gas. Amen, amen. Um, Number 13 is free liability insurance for those living below the poverty line and on a fixed income. So basically, if you have a car and your car is not full coverage and it's not a brand new car, and you can only afford you barely was able to afford the car, and you trying to figure out how you gonna pay this liability insurance, which often you end up getting ticketed for. um you would have free liability insurance on your car. So there would be no reason for everyone who was driving a car that was living below the poverty line, or were on minimum wage, they would have no excuse for not having at least liability on their car. And this would be a great way to protect people. Now, I had another law that I wanted to include, and it was a good one. It was a good one. I do want stigma. I do want stigma campaigns. I want to see stigma campaigns, like stigma campaigns against like discriminating against people, um discriminating against people with HIV, like with HIV, queer people, um sex workers, like I feel like there needs to be a greater conversation in mainstream that is more educational around ending certain stigmas, so that we don't look at people as less than or look at people as inferior because they're living with HIV, or because they're queer, or because they participate in survival sex work. And so like having like campaigns that actually speak to that. That wasn't what I was gonna talk about. I do feel like there needs to be a marriage between holistic care and westernized medicine in the medical field. Like I would like to see that marriage. I would like to see what that looks like when you go and see your primary care provider, you also have a primary care provider who is a holistic doctor, and the holistic doctor and the primary care provider are collaborating on your medications, on your dosages, and maybe this can help to where you can draw back a little bit on some of the big pharma medications. You would still use them, but you wouldn't have to use them as heavily, because sometimes when you're using big pharma medicines, they tend to take a toll on your body and cause you to need another medication or a surgery. And so seeing how holistic care providers and primary care providers who are working with westernized medicine could collaborate together, I would definitely like to see that. But I still can't think of the third one that I wanted to bring in. The 14th one, it was so good. I mean, it was right there on the tip of my tongue, and I forgot it. But I'm sure it'll come up again at some point. It was right there. It must not be meant for me to talk about that one right now. Um, I definitely want to see more intersex stuff written into the policies and the law. Not non-binary language used. I definitely want to see that too. But we could talk about this stuff all day long. Like I literally could talk about this all day long. But we're going to light up a candle. We're going to light our candle today because I'm hungry. I'm about to go and find something to eat. So this is going to be my last video in at this location for a while. I will be traveling tomorrow. Um, so I will be manifesting in a different location tomorrow. And I will share more about that when I'm actually there. Y'all know I don't like to give too much of my tea ahead of time. But I will share more about that when I'm there. I'll open up and be a little bit more transparent once I have, completed the journey and I'm where I need to be. But tomorrow I will be manifesting in a different part of the country. And so I will be you won't be seeing this backdrop for a little while because I will be on a journey. I'm a missionary, baby. I got to go where the spirit tell me, and so now it's time for me to move around. I'm getting ready to move around, so I'm gonna be at a different location and a different energy, a different frequency, but but still me, as whole ones, as purple ones, we go through seasons. We have a fall in our life, we have a winter in our life, we have a spring in our life, we have a summer in our life, but through it all we remain rooted. Amen, a woman. So I light this candle to acknowledge our ancestors, past, present, and future. I am thankful for our ancestors. I'm thankful for all they give us and all they pour into us, and I'm thankful for all you pour into me and all that you sow into me, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to connect with you. Um, yes, to connect with you in this way and just to vision and to begin to manifest the world that we want to see. You know, the 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 reality that we want to navigate, the society. And if we continue to be consistent and diligent in this world shaping, creation, co-creating, then eventually, if you build it, they will come. So we just have to keep at it. Amen, a woman. So as I light this candle on the physical plane, it grows with intensity on the spiritual plane, preparing us for times that are now. As above, so below, as within, so without. As above, so below, as within, so without. As above, so below, as within, so without. Thank you, God Goddess. Thank you, God Goddess. Thank you, God Goddess. Amen. A woman. Lelim. Lelove. Down Banananda Kua keeps spinning and turning Iangani Iyanko Kalukalo, which means I am a child of God Goddess. And if I am, you know you are. Thank you to all of my moderators who were here today. 100% pure love. My mother. Hey, Faith, you did an amazing job. I wasn't distracted at all. I see you. I am that I am. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for all of the beautiful comments made in the comment section and for the people who continue to support the platform. I am humbled by your support and it means so much to me. I am no thing without you. Amen, a woman. Bound and round, both circle and square, we too speak life, so operations beware. Sending healing to those in despair. El Babosoa, which means we come in peace. No harm to any. Lelim, Leler. Remember the 5 hearts in the chat, which represents earth, air, fire, water. And the last heart represents heart, soul, spirit. Remember, we're going to be going over those 13. And the next time I'll probably remember that 14th one. And if you have one you want to add, inbox me on Instagram, Kaneen Mafa 8. Kaneen Mafa 8. And you can add your hope for these new sets of rules, and we can help to manifest it together, or you could leave it down in the comment section of this video. Until next time, until the next location, I'll see you all soon. Be well. Wholeness. Purple ones, rise up.